Subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon and never miss an update from Latestly.
We are calling it part 2 yet. Season 2 hopefully will start soon and we'll get to it soon. Not just from me as a filmmaker for the second part which will come out, but also from the audiences. Itna pyar mila hai, the amount of love, respect I have received in the last 3 months. This is the story I want to tell and this is how I want to tell it. There is a urge in all of us to say, let's open the edit again, let's make some changes, let's do this, let's do that. But that's the right approach to it. When we started with the questioning of the story, we said, why is it called The Night Manager? Why is it not called The Spy? अभी इसके बाद क्या कर रहा है? इसके बाद ये सीन कर रहा है. संदीप ये मत कर. और तो लोकेशन क्या है? ये लोकेशन. अरे ये लोकेशन अच्छा नहीं है. मैं दूसरा लोकेशन ढूंढ के आता हूँ. मुझे एक गाड़ी दो. He would actually scout for locations.
First of all, welcome to Latestly, Sandeep. And
Thank
with that welcome, we are also waiting for the season 2. And I don't know whether this manager is going to come out of the night, go into the day, the shift is going to change. What is going to happen?
No, thank you. Thank you so much, Prathamesh. We are calling it part 2 yet. Season 2 hopefully will start soon and we'll get to it soon. A lot of expectations, I think, not just from me as a filmmaker for the second part which will come out, but also from the audiences. Itna pyar mila hai, the amount of love, respect I have received in the last 3 months. I feel now I owe a great season finale to the audiences, and we've been working hard, extremely hard, the team, to present the last few episodes well. And 30th June is the day, the D-Day, and I hope it meets and surpasses the expectations of everyone.
Give me a sense of what thoughts are running across your creative head especially when we celebrate the success of the first part, Night Manager first part, and now we are moving into the second part, part 2. Is there a burden that you carry as a creative person to be able to live up to the hype and the accolades that the part 1 received, and therefore moving into the 2, the pressure mounts, or it doesn't?
I think if I could do anything about it, Prathamesh, I think the pressure would have been there. The fact that it is part 2 and we had already shot it together, we had edited it together, and it was only some VFX and some things which I've been trying to improve in the interim, that I'll say that my hands are tied. You know, it is something which I've committed to. The story is committed to. But yeah, if it was something which I had to create again, the pressure would be high. I think genuinely I feel the pressure in anything else that I'm writing. There are other things which I'm working on in the interim, and I constantly feel the pressure of success. And people always say that the pressure of failure is something, but I think the pressure of success is also a scary thing, because you start asking the wrong questions to the story. You asking the wrong questions to each thought that comes to you. Is this the right kind of story you should be working on? Instead of saying, do you like the story? You say, is this going to give you the kind of success again? So it's, I would say success is a lousy teacher. So you have to be very, very careful about it. But to The Night Manager, genuinely, I had decided that whether the first 4 episodes are loved or they are not loved, this is the story I want to tell and this is how I want to tell it. And the last few episodes were actually locked by all of us before we released the first part. But I said, Bhagwan na kare, if things go south, there is a urge in all of us to say, let's open the edit again, let's make some changes, let's do this, let's do that. But that's the right approach to it. You can't say that it's like saying it's a cricket game. You can't go in the middle of the game and say, okay, now I think we are losing this, let's attitude. You have to play the game fully, you have to enjoy it fully. All confidence that the people and the story and crew who have worked hard, and eventually when the whole thing is complete, it'll all make sense.
So, be a sense of what exactly tweak it to be able to make it Indianized, so to speak. Be it the film, the original film, be it the novel by the same name. to get the nuances right, to get the Indian elements right, perhaps to get it the required desi touch. What work exactly, and without losing a sense of, I mean, the attire they wear, the mood, the texture, and the treatment is very Angrezi. The color palette is very, very refreshingly Angrezi. So striking that balance, what exactly went into that?
I'll say I'll say for an adaptation, the idea always is to think of it as you take the bare bones structure from something, take the premise from say a book or a show. In this case, it was from both, and then you say that if you consider the structure like a seed, the first idea is to first sow it in the soil of the country. You say, okay, if this is the structure and you put it in, how do you look at it so that it looks like this story has germinated from our people, from our times, from our world? So the approach was to find relevance firstly. Why should the story be made is a question I enjoy asking a lot before I start any journey. Why is the story should be told? Why should 300 people give their blood and sweat to work on the story? Yes, of course, it has to be entertaining. Absolutely. Yes, it has to be something which is profitable for the people investing in it. Absolutely. But why, as a teller or as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, why should so many people, lose their sleep, be away from their family telling the story? So I think the moment you find these themes about it, and unfortunately, the theme of this is relevant even today. Fortunately, that I could make it. Unfortunate because the theme is actually quite sad. It's the idea of warmongers. The idea of war, and it's still active in our part of world yet. Somewhere we've all got quite numb to it, and we've moved on because kitna sunenge hum Ukraine Russia war ke bare mein. But the war rages on, and it's not really far. It's not across the ocean somewhere. It's right here, a few 1,000 kilometers north of our capital. So I think the relevance was the first thing which I always look for. The second key thing which I always find is how, if the story has to move from point A to B to C, you don't decide how they move. You just take ABC from the story. But how the move happens, you ask the characters you create. So if you remember when we started with the questioning of the story, we said, why is it called the night manager? Why is it not called the spy? The word night manager told us that it is about a man who is not supposed to start with a spy, who is supposed to be a regular Joe like you and me, right? And then we said, but why is he only working as a night manager? So somewhere the questions we asked gave us answers. We discovered his naval past. We discovered why he is troubled, why only he wants to work in the night, because he can't get sleep in the night anymore. So then once you set up these characters, then the character will tell you how to go from point A to point B. You don't decide anymore. The characters live their own life. So somewhere this is something which I have closely followed. It's like how my favorite textbook for adaptation is how Vishal Bharadwaj Saab adapts Shakespeare. I think if you can do it with that spirit and ethos, I think the story will feel absolutely desi.
You Rose, you're talking about the characters. Which was the most challenging character to craft in your head, and why so? Because these characters are dramatically different from each other. They're stylish. They are very, very urban. They have their own lingo, their own body language to convey the backstory that they have. So in that sense, which was the most challenging character for you to create?
I'll say all of them were challenging in their own way. Tough for me to say which one was more. I'll say what was risky was the character of Shelly Rungta, because for the first time he was playing a villain, and yet we wanted him to not play a villain. The brief which we had decided was, let's play the villain like a hero. But yet the fear is, will you hate him enough if you play him like a hero? But it was a fine line for us, and the fact that audiences have accepted it, that line that we have walked with the character, which Anil Kapoor Saab has so nicely played on that edge, is beautiful. We always speak about how we can humanize the demons and demonize the humans in our story. And for me, we found that right balance that made the character more wholesome and more real. He was a villain in somebody's eyes, but he was a perfect father. He was a perfect boyfriend to Kaveri. He was a perfect friend to BJ. So the fact that we could find the exact balance of it as a character and as a filmmaker and as a writer, that really gave a lot of satisfaction to me.
What does it take to make Anil Kapoor look more stylish? Stylish that he already is. But does any work, or it absolutely inherent?
I think yes, it runs in the genes for sure. And as Anil sir says, it runs in the ulta genes. It comes from Sonam and Riya to him, as he laughs about. But I think he's wonderful that he understands what it means to be cool. Like if you see how his whole career journey has been, you'll never see the same style at the start of his career. You'll see that style has slowly seeped in over the last 10 years. So it's something which he has observed and found, and it's also the global exposure and the amount of work that he has done everywhere. He's taken a lot of effort to develop that sense of style. So I'll say a lot of places, even I knew that I was out of depth with how to make it so cool. I'm a absolutely indie maker who's made a Marathi film, Chumbak, to start with, and went to Aarya. So I knew that these are the places I need to work really hard on. So, but I knew that if we do the same safe things, you will end up making it look like any other thing that you've seen around. So we took some risks. Anil Kapoor Saab actually recommended a Paris-based designer who he has worked with only once for, I would say, not for films, but for, say, his photo shoots or something. His name is Kshitij Kankaria. And he said, he's this young kid who's right now based out of Paris. He's actually from a small town in Madhya Pradesh. There's a great aesthetic. And his fashion sense was so refined, so international. We said, let's get him on board. Let him design the rich world. Let him design all of Shelly Rungta's world. So there is Kaveri, or whether it is Rungta or BJ. So what it helped is, it was risky. He had never done a film before. He's never designed for a film before. So a lot of things were going wrong, but yet when you look at it, you said these are the things that are going right. He knew how to dress people for the rich world and fashion. And I said, that's what I want. Don't worry about whether the clothes look rich. If you look at all the clothes, they actually are extremely rich in terms of the price, but they are not rich to look at. They're not the classic gaudy.
They're not opulent. They're not opulent.
Absolutely. They're not opulent at all. They are the easy money. Somebody who's so stylish, has so much money, he doesn't care about style, and that's why he's so stylish. So we went with that vibe, but I think it's a lot of out of box thinking that allowed us to get there. Even with the DOP, we worked.
In that sense, allow me to draw a parallel here. I mean, Hotstar is a platform for you, and it has worked fabulously well for you. Here's Aarya, and here is Night Managers, and you have Anil Kapoor's character. And both these people are full of life, full of zest, full of energy. And I was also going through some of your Instagram posts where you are directing these huge superstars that they are. How do you then see their zest, their energy, their childlike enthusiasm, as opposed to the thera in terms of style, in terms of direction? How would you compare these two, Sushmita Sen versus Anil Kapoor?
I would say they're very similar and yet very different. Similar in the sense, Sushmita, I would say, was an actor who came on board on Aarya, and we realized that and this is something which we've never spoken about actually. The character on paper was slightly different before Sushmita came on board. when we saw Sushmita play the character, we realized that the inherent strength that we see in the character is actually part of her personality. So we rebuilt Aarya around her body. It's like saying that either you go to the market to buy a shoe around your foot, or you find a shoemaker who'll make it around your foot. That's what happened with it. With AK Saab, I think his body of work and his understanding of his craft is immaculate. So much so that if you give him a character, any character, he'll know how he wants to interpret it. You know, that difference is huge. And yet both of them are stupendous in terms of when they come on set, the energy changes. When Sush is on set, it's like there is the sun in a solar system on that corner of the set, and everyone's just attracted to want to look at her, talk to her, understand what she's going to do. And I think with Aarya, what I really enjoyed with Sushmita was how quickly she allowed us a peek into her as a person. How quickly she allowed us to tap into her emotional journey, because the character was so emotional. So Sush really allowed, it's easy for me to say this is an emotional moment, but because we had shared experiences and we had spoken at length, we could say this feels like that moment from a certain time in your life. And she said, yeah, I understood what you mean. And she could draw from it, and she could make us all emotional. So the strength and the weakness and the vulnerability that she created for the character was beautiful.
True.
With AK Saab, he's actually a film school. So on set, many a times I'll tell you, his shot is done, but he'll come and say, अभी इसके बाद क्या कर रहा है? इसके बाद ये सीन कर रहा है. संदीप ये मत कर. सुन, मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है, सुन. तू ये करेगा, तेरा लाइट जाएगा, फिर वो हो जाएगा, फिर उसको एक्टर को टाइम लगेगा. तो एक काम कर, तू ये सीन शूट कर पहला. और तो लोकेशन क्या है? ये लोकेशन, अरे ये लोकेशन अच्छा नहीं है, मैं दूसरा लोकेशन ढूंढ के आता हूँ, मुझे एक गाड़ी दो. He would actually scout for locations. He is a film school. He is somebody who will tell you
that only Anil Kapoor can do, right? That only
Anil Kapoor can do this. He look at the schedule, is like, ये नहीं होगा, ये तेरा दिन पूरा ही नहीं हो सकता. I said, why are you saying this, sir? Why do you think so? ये तेरा schedule में गलती है, ये नहीं होगा, ये नहीं होगा, ये नहीं होगा. I said, okay. Tell me, how would you do it? And sometimes you would argue, and sometimes I would win the argument, and he would say, okay, you are right. That's why you're the director and I'm not. And sometimes he would say, see, I told you, ये नहीं होगा तेरे से. So it's a fun banter, but the amount of knowledge Kapur Saab has is something. We whenever in doubt, whenever we are in trouble, we don't even have to go to ask him. He senses it. He actually is he's like a sponge for the energy of the set.
Yeah.
He can read it. He can walk to set and he can say, today is a good day. The director knows exactly what is happening. He's in control. Everything is fine. And there are days he's like, you're struggling, right? I can see it. Soon, we'll help you. Let's figure out kya atak raha hai, kahan atak raha hai. So he's somebody who both Sushmita and Anil Saab, when they come on set, the energy is around them. With Kapur Saab, the experiences he brings is a genuine blissful thing to have on set.
We can talk for hours, Sandeep. This is
I know.
Interesting topic, and this is interesting project that you have given us, and the taste that you have given us is going to stay on my palate. But of course, I mean, jate ye bataye, part 2, Night Manager part 2. What do you promise to the audience without revealing much? 30th June is the D-Day, as you said. What can we expect? What we cannot expect? Is there something beyond that too? Give us a glimpse of that quickly.
I'll say, Pratmesh, that after the 4 episodes, the audience has a thought in their mind on which way the story will move. I can say they are right and they are wrong.
Yeah.
They are right because it will give them the joy which they expect, and they are wrong because we will promise to surprise you and find newer ways of doing it. The actors have really, I think, outdone themselves with the way these scenes have been done. The story, the performances, the music, the VFX, it just gets bigger, better, bolder. It's like there's a promise made at the start of the show of the sparks. The sparks are coming. The sparks are here, and the sparks are gonna be not just sparks, it's gonna be the blast that you see. It's gonna be a mad ride. It's gonna be an adrenaline rush. for all the audiences. So please tune in on 30th June and tune in so large numbers that one more time, please make Hotstar servers crash as we had done the first time when the show was out. I hope the tech team is up for the challenge, but that's my challenge for the audiences. Let's do this.
We're all set. Let the madness unleash. Let the excitement unleash on 30th June. Night Manager Part 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For this
Thank
lovely
you.
conversation.